Hey everybody, Tim and Julie here for another Batman the Animated Series review. Episodes 13, 14, 15, 16. I don't know, we'll start from the top, I guess. The first episode, episode 13, I've got Batman in my basement. So this is the introduction to the Penguin, as far as the animated series go. Obviously very based off of Batman Returns,
Right.
with the fingers and everything. Did you recognize the voice at all?
No.
It's Paul Williams. Probably more famous in like the 80s, the 70s. He did guest star in Star Trek The Next Generation. He was in one of the Planet of the Apes movies. He was a singer-songwriter.
Oh, okay. Now, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote like Rainy Days and Mondays, stuff like that for the Carpenters, and famous songwriter. So what do you think of this Penguin?
He probably I don't know. He wasn't as. I don't think he was as mean as
Okay,
prior ones. But
makes sense. Yeah, I mean it is a kid show.
it's a kid show, so yeah, you can tell.
Okay. Episode 14, Heart of Ice. This is the origin story for Mr. Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping in mind that this episode came out before the Batman and Robin movie with Arnold, which that movie was clearly based off of this, with like his wife being frozen and him trying to like find the cure. Mr. Freeze in this was voiced by one of my favorite actors, Michael and Sarah, who's fantastic. I absolutely love him. Most notably, he was in Star Trek, both the original series and Deep Space Nine. He played the same character, a Klingon. So I don't know, like just the flat monotone, like he does perfect, and pretty much all three of the main villains for these three episodes we'll see again. We'll see Paul Williams as the Penguin, and Michael and Sarah will return as Mr. Freeze. So for this one, would you think of Mr. Freeze?
No, he wasn't as mean.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a kid show, but I kind of knew it was going to be him by the title of it when it came on. But yeah,
And that's one of the things that they did. Even like if you look at the Batman and Robin movie, like Mr. Freeze isn't necessarily a villain, as he's just trying to help his wife.
Right.
So he's not like out there to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like you can kind of see the origins of that. And as we see him other times, it's kind of the same story where he's not trying to be the bad guy, but he's like trying to do it.
Right.
What's interesting for this one is in the past, in the comics and even in like the 60s TV show, Mr. Freeze was just kind of this villain that froze people. That was it.
Right.
In this episode, they reworked it so that way he was like an anti-hero trying to help his wife. And that origin story is now what they go off of in the comics. So anytime you see Mr. Freeze in the comic books now, it's based off of this type of Mr. Freeze. So this is one of those instances where the animated series redefined the comic books. The interesting thing about this one also, Ferris Boyle, the character, the guy who's like in charge of Mr. Freeze, who is the one who accidentally caused him to become Mr. Freeze, is also voiced by Mark Hamill, the voice of the Joker. So, and I'm such a big fan of Mark Hamill. Like the second he spoke, I was like, I know who that is. So we get that one. And then next, the final part for this one is episodes 15 and 16. Another two-parter, which I love the two-parters. I think the two-parters are great. Cat in the Claw. We get our first introduction to Catwoman, which I love. So this whole animated series debuted in 1992, the same time Batman Returns came out. And then just by coincidence, we are actually watching this in production order. So when this TV show first came out, part 1 was actually the first episode to come out ever. And then part 2 was like the 10th episode to come out. So they didn't even debut next to each other. So we're actually watching them the way they're meant to be viewed. And I love how, just by coincidence, like we watched The Penguin and then we watched Catwoman for this one. The two noteworthy actors for this one is Adrienne Barbeau is the voice of Catwoman. Love her. She was big in the 80s. She was married to John Carpenter, who she had starred in some of his movies, like The Thing and Escape from New York with Kurt Russell. So we get her as the voice of Catwoman, and then Kate Mulgrew plays the voice of Red Claw, who I love Kate Mulgrew from like Throw Mama from a Train, and then obviously Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager, and then she's Red in Orange is the New Black. She's a huge actress. She's fantastic. So a lot of voice actors in these ones. So what did you think of... So they created Red Claw just for this series. So you'll never see Red Claw outside of the animated series. So what did you think of seeing this version of Catwoman and the new character of Red Claw?
I liked Catwoman.
Okay.
Red Claw, she looked too... I don't know. Just... I don't know. She was just... Yeah, she was out there.
Just tough and bad.
Tough, yeah.
Okay. And then for Catwoman, like, was she... I don't know, she's supposed to be based off of, like, Batman Returns, like the Michelle Pfeiffer. Is that the vibe you got from this one, or what'd you get?
Maybe a little softer.
Okay.
She and her cat.
Oh, Isis. Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
Which is funny, when Jordan and I first got Harley, our all-black cat, Isis was one of the names I had thrown out there in memory, or in the thought of Catwoman's cat. And then I was like, well, fuck it, let's just name her like Selena for Selena Kyle. And Jordan didn't like that either. So we ended up with Harley Quinn. So another Batman character. So, okay. So we saw the Penguin, we saw Mr. Freeze, we saw Catwoman. 16 episodes into the series so far. What are you thinking so far?
I'm liking them.
You liking them?
I'm liking them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not as violent because they're for kids, but yeah, I like them.
Okay. So like I said, we're 16 in. What is a character that we have not yet seen that you want to see?
Riddler, maybe.
Okay. Yep. And that's a good one. Like, I already know that episode. I'd like title memorized and everything. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the... you know what? I can just scroll down. No. I don't think that's going to be in the next batch. Anyways, we'll figure it out. I do like the Riddler. Because we saw John Glover, who's the voice of the Riddler, in the Batman and Robin movie. Right. So, okay. So the Riddler's who we're looking forward to. I'm trying to think. I'm looking forward to, like, because I've already seen all of these. I'm looking forward to you seeing Harley Quinn's first episode. Oh, okay. So that'll be exciting. Okay. Any other closing thoughts for this little batch?
No, I think it's bedtime.
Bedtime? Okay. So for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think about Paul Williams, Michael and Sarah, and Adrienne Barbeau, aka... who is it? The Penguin, Mr. Freeze, and Catwoman. Go ahead, let us know what you think about this batch. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and we will see you guys next time.